Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everyone. Welcome to this lecture, which is lecture 4. In this lecture, we are going to focus on two important topics which can be considered as some components of linguistics. We are going to talk in the first part of this lecture about phonology, and in the second part of this lecture we'll be talking about word formation. To begin with, let's distinguish between phonetics, which we have already talked about in the previous class, in the previous lecture, and phonology. And I explicitly mentioned that these two terms are confusing because they mostly come together. Often they come together, and they both complement each other. Whereas there is a subtle difference between phonetics and phonology. Okay? They all deal with sounds, but there is a subtle difference which distinguish each one of them. So if we start by revising what we have already talked about in the previous lecture, we mentioned that phonetics deals with the production of speech sounds, okay? Whereas phonology, which is the new thing, whereas phonology is about the patterns of sounds. So we can get this as the first distinction. So phonetics deals with the production, with the actual production of speech sounds, whereas phonology is about the patterns. It's about the patterns of speech sounds. Another distinction between phonetics and phonology, phonetics is about the physical aspect of sounds. It studies the production and the perception of sounds, which we call it phones, okay? Which is called phones. Phonetics has also some subcategories, but if not specified, we usually mean articulatory phonetics, as I mentioned in the previous lecture. Since this is our main concentration is on this type of phonetics, which is articulatory phonetics. So phonetics or articulatory phonetics is the study of the production of speech sounds by the articulatory and vocal tract by the speaker. Phonetic transcriptions are done using the square brackets. And when we see these two symbols, or these two little square, this will represent the physical aspect. So we can read this, or we can say it, okay? Unlike slashes, which we are going to see in phonology, since the slashes don't represent the physical aspect, rather they represent the abstract, the mental, how the brain or how the mind recognizes different speech sounds. So phonology, which is the other part, which is, you know, let's say the complementary side of linguistics, is about the abstract. It's about something that we can't see, something that is, you know, not touchable, something that cannot be noticed. So phonology is about the abstract, the mental aspect of sounds, and it studies the phonemes, okay? Not phones, but phonemes. So phonemes, or a phoneme, is a phonemic phonemic transcriptions always come between two slashes, as I have just mentioned now. So phonology is about establishing what are the phonemes in a given language, those sounds that can bring difference in meaning between two words. Okay, so this is also another distinction between phonetics and phonology. Phonology is always about, or always deals with sounds that distinguish the differences or that, yeah, that can bring a difference, or that distinguish different meanings of two different words or more. And a phoneme is a phonic segment with a meaning value. For example, as we are going to see in just after 2 slides, we are going to see minimal pairs. So I'm going to remind you when I come to that slide. But now let me repeat very quickly the differences, since the differences are very crucial, and I would like each one of you not to be confused between the two components of these two components of linguistics. So I repeat, phonetics deals with the physical aspect of sounds, whereas phonology deals with the mental, with the representation of the sounds in humans' mind. In addition to this, phonetics deals with what is called phones. It deals with phones, whereas phonology deals with phonemes or phonemes. So, the ear hears phonetics. The ear hears phonetics, since this is a physical aspect, since this is something which we can see it, since this is something which can appear. But the brain hears phonology, which is the opposite, which is an abstract thing. So we can simply say, or we can briefly conclude, that phonetics deals with actual representation of sounds, whereas phonology represents the actual, the physical aspect of sounds. That your ear is capable of processing whatever linguistic sounds are given to it. Of course, and here we are assuming we are talking to someone with normal hearing, okay, not, for example, deaf or people who have a weakness in hearing. But your language experience causes your brain to filter out only those sound patterns that are important to your languages. Okay, so phonetics is something general which can be applied to different languages. It's universal, whereas phonology is more specific. It deals with your particular language. It's more specific. Okay. So I'm still talking about phonology and the term of phonology and what it means. So phonology is the blueprint of each sound type in the mind. Okay. It's the blueprint of each sound pattern in the human's mind. It's also it represents the constant paces of all versions in different physical articulations of that sound type in different contexts. So we can say that there is two sort of images for sounds. One in the physical, in reality, one we can see it, whereas the other one is which is not seen, or which is not represented through the articulatory system or through the physical articulators. So one, which is phonetics, is the physical, whereas phonology refers to the patterns of sounds in the human's mind. For example, the differences in producing sounds like t and k, t and g, t and k, as they have meaningful consequences related to one rather than the other, and they make different words meaningfully distinct. Okay? So no one would say that t is as same as k, because when they come or when they are used in words, they will refer or they will give different meanings. They have different meaningful consequences related to each one of these sounds. The phonology is also, phonology also refers to the representation of sounds in our minds, to recognize, to interpret the meaning of words based on the physical sound we say and hear. So we can't say that phonology is, it's far from phonetics, or it's not related. No, we can't say this. Phonology always should be associated with phonetics, because one of them looks at the physical sound, whereas the other one, okay, looks at the representation, the abstract, how the abstract sound looks in a human's mind. So it's about the representation of different sounds in humans' minds. Okay. Now we come to a very, very important, let's say, element of phonology, which is phoneme or phoneme. Phoneme, okay? Don't forget that phoneme is the basic unit of phonology, okay? Whereas phone is the basic unit of phonetics. So what is phoneme? It's a single written symbol. It's meaning distinguishing sounds, so it deals with meaning. Phonemes such as f and v, these are two different phonemes. Phonemes have a contrastive property, as in, for example, in fat and vat, fat and vat. If we replace one sound for another, there will be a change in terms of meaning and pronunciation. Then the two sounds will represent different phonemes. Some phonemes are described as natural classes. Okay, when they have similar sound characteristics. For example, let's look at these two phonemes, p and k, p and k. These two phonemes are voiceless stops, so they are considered as parts of a natural class of phonemes. Okay, what about phones and allophones? We have just looked at phoneme and the meaning of phoneme, and we mentioned that it's the abstract unit. It's the abstract unit or sound in the mind, whereas phone, okay, which is the basic element, or which is the core element of phonetics, is the sound type produced in actual speech in the mouth. So as you see, both of them are, they always attach to each other, phones and phonemes, phones and phonemes. So phonetic units appear in square brackets. This is very important piece of note. Phonetic units always come in square brackets, because these two brackets refer to the way of pronouncing these or certain words. Whereas allophone is a set of phones of all which are versions of one phoneme. Let's look at this example. The phoneme t. Okay, the phoneme t is produced in different ways as phones t, either with a strong puff, with a strong aspiration, as for example in word ta, okay, or might be pronounced in a different way with less puffing, as in the word star. So ta and star. You notice, as you may notice here, ta, the phoneme t, okay, is stronger. It has got a stronger puffing than the t in the word star. Okay, so they are referred to as allophones. When we have similar case, we call this letter, okay, as not a phoneme, but we call it allophone. Okay, we don't call it a phone, but rather we call it allophone. So they are referred to as allophones to the phoneme t. Okay, changing allophone only results in different pronunciation of the same word. If there is a little change in certain phoneme, okay, or we can say just if there is a change in a sound, okay, for the same word, okay, so then we can say this is allophone. And don't forget the two examples, ta and star, ta and star, tar and star. Okay, what about minimal pairs? When two words such as pat and bat are identical in form except for a contrast in one phoneme occurring in the same position, the two are described as a minimal pair in English. Because they look the same, okay, when you hear them, you imagine that the two words are the same. It's just a repetition of the same word, whereas in fact, if you just pay more attention, you will notice that just one sound is different, or just one phoneme is different. Okay. For example, in this example, you will notice after you pay some attention that one strong or one sound, okay, has been given more emphasis, like pat, okay, and bat. Arabic doesn't have this contrast between these two phonemes, like p and ba, which is, I think, it's such a common mistake. Many Arabic native speakers don't get, I mean, I know a large number of Arabic native speakers may confuse between these two sounds, between p and ba. Examples of more minimal pairs in English, such as fan and van, or pit and pat, and sight and side, sight and side. Such minimal pairs are also used for teaching English as a foreign language. For what? In order to develop the ability of students to understand the contrast in meaning. So it's also used as a good way of teaching students who are learning English as a second or as a foreign language to distinguish between different meanings of similar words. Now we come to something similar, which is called minimal sets. When a group of words can be differentiated by only changing for one phoneme, that's considered as a minimal set. Let's look at these examples. So an example of one minimal set based on the vowel phonemes of English is feet, fit, fat, fate, fought, and food. This is very interesting. You see here these words have, as we call it, minimal set, because they have a change in, we have a phoneme that is similar to each one of these words. Whereas, if you look at other examples just below, an example of one minimal set based on the consonant phonemes of English, such as big, rig, fig, dig, and wig. Okay, this is also interesting because here we have a minimal set based on consonant phonemes. Whereas in the previous examples, for the previous examples, yes, these examples are based on vowel phonemes. So if there is a change in one phoneme, we call this for a group of words, we call it a minimal set. Okay, now we come to syllables. Syllable or a syllable refers to the basic structure of a larger phonological units. So if I say a syllable, that means, or that refers to more than a single phonological unit. So a syllable may consist of a vowel and a diphthong, okay, or might consist of consonant and vowel as well, which is the most common type of syllables in English and in many other languages. The basic elements of syllables are onset, which means one or more consonants, followed by rhyme, which consists of a vowel. This vowel, some people call it, or it's known as nucleus, plus a consonant or consonants. So plus either one consonant or more than one consonant, or more than one consonant, which is known as the coda. Syllables have two types, either open syllables or closed syllables. And open syllables refers to an onset and nucleus. Let's look at this example, me, or to, and or no. If we look at these three examples, we can simply identify that they start with onset, which is what? Which is a consonant, followed by E or O or O. So the second letters, the second sounds in each one, or in each of these words is vowel, or it's called a nucleus. Okay? So onset refers to a consonant, and rhyme refers to a vowel, okay, which is also called a nucleus. Okay, what about the other type of syllables, which is called closed syllables, which have a set, a nucleus, and coda. Let's look at this example. If we look at the first word, up, we can simply identify that this word starts with U, which is vowel, so this is rhyme or a nucleus, and then P, which is what? Which is onset or consonant. Whereas if we look at the third word, the third example, hat, we can say that it consists of how many syllables? Simply we can say that this syllable, okay, or this word has starts with what? With a consonant, followed by a nucleus, okay, and what? And consonant. Okay? So coda refers to consonants as well. So hope you got the differences between the two types of syllables and closed syllables. Let me repeat this very quickly. For the open syllables, it has, or for an open syllable, it has an onset plus nucleus. Whereas closed syllable, it has a set, okay, a nucleus and coda. Let's look at these examples, and I'm sure by looking at these examples, things will be much clearer. So if we look at these examples, green, eggs, like, them, we can simply say that green consists of consonant, consonant, vowel, consonant. For eggs, it starts with vowel followed by consonant, consonant. Whereas in the word like, it starts with consonant, vowel, consonant. And in the final word, or in the final example, them, this word has 3 syllables. And these syllables are consonant, vowel, and consonant. Now we come to consonant clusters. We know cluster, the word cluster refers to a group or a set of something. So a combination of 2 consonants, such as est, okay, or st, in the word stop, known as, sorry, here there is a repetition. Okay, so known as onset, whereas coda in the word post. Why? Simply because in the first word, stop, st, came at the beginning of the word, whereas that's why we consider it as onset. Whereas the same, if we can consider it as a cluster, the same consonant came at the end of the word post, okay, so we call this coda. Okay, so these 2 consonants, we call them consonant clusters, okay, which they might come at the beginning of the word or at the end of the word. English can have more than 2 consonants, which means we might see larger consonant clusters, as the word stress, for example, and strong. In these 2 words, okay, we have 3, consonants, like st, r. Okay, we have the 3 letters s, t, r. Okay, we have consonant, consonant, consonant. Okay, same thing with strong. Okay. So we can have a larger consonant clusters. Okay. Now I come to the second, the other thing, okay, which is related to syllables, or which is related to syllables. It's unusual to have, as I think I have mentioned this very clearly at the beginning, that large consonant clusters is not common in many languages. So it's unusual to have large consonant clusters in many languages. For example, in Japanese, the dominant syllable is consonant vowels. And this is the case in many languages. Consonant plus vowel. Large consonant clusters may be reduced if they come in the middle of a word. So these, the consonant clusters we have just mentioned, they can be shortened if they come at the middle of a word. This takes me to a new term that is called co-articulation. Co-articulation. So co-articulation refers to the process of making one sound almost at the same time as the next sound. It's the process of making one sound almost at the same time as the next sound. And we have three different types of co-articulation effects. We have what is known as assimilation, nasalization or nasalization, and elision. Let's take each one of them. What do we mean by assimilation? When two sound segments, when two sound parts, okay, when two sound segments occur in sequence and some aspects of one segment is taken or copied by the other. For example, and as I mentioned, we can simplify things by looking at examples. So, for example, the word have is pronounced in a phrase as I have to go, with replacing the sound the sound to be similar to the sound th sound, and from being voiced to become voiceless. So instead of saying have with a clear the, it will become half. So instead of saying I have to go, okay, this will be reduced, this will be assimilated to become I have to go. So we notice a difference here in pronouncing this sound. It becomes sort of like shorten. Okay, both of consonant and vowels are subject to assimilation. So it doesn't matter. We have some cases of vowels and we have some cases of consonants which are subject to assimilation or to this effect of co-articulation. The second type of co-articulation effect is what is known as nasalization. So the anticipation or the expectation of forming the final nasal consonant will make it easier to go into the nasalized articulation in advance. The word can, okay, the word can become with an emphasis on changing the velar sound g in the I can go. So the influence of the following velar nasal g will make the preceding nasal sound come out. Think about the phrase you and me. You and me. So here, such sounds are, more nasalized, and they will become much more easier to come out. That's simply because of what? Because of the co-articulation effect, and because of the nasalization. The other, or the third type of co-articulation effect is elision. Okay, so the process of not producing a sound segment that might be present in the deliberately careful pronunciation of a word in isolation. The word, for example, the word friendship. Okay, friendship. The sound D is deleted. So instead of saying friendship, we just say friendship. This is simply because of the process of what? The process of elision. Okay? So here we have a deletion of the sound D. So this common in consonant clusters or a coda position, as in the word aspects. Instead of, we don't say aspects, okay, we just say aspects, okay? Or he must be, we don't say he must be, we just say he must be, without, without paying attention or without giving an emphasis on the sound T. So vowels also disappear, as in the following words: interest, cabinet, camera, suppose, and every. The same thing here with these words. The vowels, okay, I mean they they produced is slightly in a different way. Okay, now we come to the second part of today's lecture, which is about forming words or word formation. So if we start by looking at this term, which is called neologism, refers to the process of coping with new words. There is a regularity in the word formation processes in a language. Okay. Etymology, it's also another definition, it's also another concept which refers to the study of the origins of different words and their history. And this word has come from Latin, which means original form. And logia means study of. So this word, etymology, refers to the study of original, or the study of originality, or the study of history of words. Many old words can cause outcries as they come into use today. So sources of words formation. We have a number of sources of words formation. The first one is called borrowing, which is related to taking something. So borrowing refers to taking over of words from other language or adopting a wide number of words from other languages. Just look at these examples. If we look at jewel, okay, this word is taken from French. If we look at the word ski, okay, or skiing, ski, it's taken from Norwegian. Yogurt, okay, it's Turkish. And all these words have become, English words. They are existing in English dictionary, in any English dictionary. Other languages might borrow some words from English too, which is the vice versa. Such as the word supermarket in English, it has become used in Japanese as supermakito, okay? And also we have this example for typewriter. It's also used in Japanese as teperuta, yeah? So these two words have become existing. They have existed in Japanese, and their origins have been taken from English. So loan translation or click, it's a type of borrowing. Okay, it refers to a direct translation of the elements of a word into the borrowing language. For example, the Dutch welcome krapper, or what is known as in English as cloud scratcher, or the German Wolkenkratzer, or cloud scraper, okay, which were claiks for the English skyscraper. So these words are used in Dutch and in German, and they have basically taken from which language? From English. Okay? With the direct translation of the elements of a word, with a direct translation of their meanings in the borrowing language. So we call this loan translation or click. The second type of word formation is called compounding. When there is a joining of two separate words to produce a single form, okay, for example, Lin and Wort, okay, are combined to produce the word Linwort in German, which means loan word in English. So these two, let's say, separate words have been combined and shaped, a single word. This way of producing new words is common in English and in German as well, but less common in other languages such as French and Spanish. Examples are like wallpaper, textbook, fingerprint, okay, good looking. So with the previous, with the first three examples, they are all nouns, okay, nouns plus noun, noun plus noun, noun plus noun, whereas in the fourth example we have adjective plus noun, good looking. Part of compounding process is called blending, which is part of, again, it's part of compounding process. So blending is about mixing, or it's about the combination of two separate forms to produce a single new term. It differs from blending in a sense that it takes only the beginning of one word and then join it to the end of the other word. Okay, so it's a slightly different from blending. Compound is slightly different from blending in a sense that it takes only the beginning letters, or maybe the beginning letter of one word and then join it to the end of the other word. Okay, so we take the first part of the first word and the last part of the second word. For example, smog. So with this word, it's a blending. It's a blended, or this is a blended word of two words, smoke and fog. Same thing with bit, blending of binary plus digital. Motel, it's a blending of motor and hotel. The element of reduction that is noticeable in blending is even more apparent in the process of clipping. Again, clipping is also another process, or it's another way of producing or forming words. It happens when a word of more than one syllable is reduced to a shorter form. Like facsimile, it becomes fax. Examples are like gasoline. I mean, this word has become shorted, or it has been shortened. So gasoline this word has become gas. Advertisement, just ad. Influenza, flow. Fan, fantastic. Examination, exam. So this way of reduction is called clipping. It's called clipping. Types of clipping can be more than, can be either what is known as hypocorisms, or hypocorisms, which is often in Australian English and British English, where we have, when we have longer words reduced to a single syllable with addition of sounds or letters like Y and E is added to the end. So let's look at these examples. Instead of saying television, we just say telly. We just say telly, and this is way of, as I said, this is an example for clipping. So the last part of television, okay, has been taken off and replaced with Y. So telly. We have also a toasted sandwich. Instead of these two words have been clipped, so they were replaced by toasty. Handkerchief has been replaced with handy to refer to handkerchief or handkerchief. The other type, or the second type of clipping, is called back formation. So a word of one type is reduced to form a word of another type. So for example, from being noun into verb. So instead of being a noun, it will be a verb. For example, donation, which is a noun verb, it will become a verb by just deleting just a few words, by only deleting a few letters. So donate is a noun, and denote So here I think there is a typo here. Donate, donation, and donate. Okay, it's the verb. And also we have another example, emotion, which is a noun. It has become emote to refer to the verb. And we have enthusiasm, which is a noun. It has become enthuse to refer to a verb. We have also conversion as a process of word formation. Simply, it's a change in the function of a word without making any reduction. So the words will be kept as they are. For example, words such as bottle, potter, chair, vacation. We know that these words are noun, right? But they have become used. They have become to be used as verbs instead of being only nouns. So we can say someone need to chair the meeting, they are vacationing in Florida, etc. So the same word can be used as verb as well as a noun. So part of the process of conversion is verbs become nouns, like yes, for example, or from being a phrasal verb to be nouns, or to be a noun, like to print out. This phrasal verb has become noun, a printout. Same thing with verbs such as stand up. This verb has become an adjective, a stand up, or to stand up as a verb. This has become an adjective, as in the word stand-up comedian. What about coinage? Coinage is also another process of word formation, which refers to the invention and general use, totally new terms. So it's the invention and general use totally of totally new terms. It's not very common in English, though. All the examples for coinage are aspirin and nylon, and more recent examples are like granola and Xerox. After first use, they become everyday words in the language. We have also other examples like Google. Google is an example of coinage. Now I think everyone knows that Google refers to the process of using the internet to find information. We have also a new term which is called eponymous, which refers to when new words are created based on the name of a person or place, such as Hoover, okay, or Spangler. As a continuation of this process of coinage, it's one form of coinage of words is known as acronyms. Acronyms are new words formed from the initial letters of a set of other words. Examples are like CD, which stands for compact disc. No one will say compact disc nowadays. We just say CD or CDs, if they are still used. We have also other acronyms like UNESCO, NATO, NASA. These examples keep their capital letters. We have also laser, okay? I think a few people know that this acronym refers, or this acronym stands for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. We have radar, which stands for radio detecting and ranging. We have also ATM, which stands for automatic teller machine. We have also PIN, which stands for personal identification number. Okay, now we come to derivation or derivation. It's accomplished by means of creating a large number of words of small bits, and this can be described as affixes. And we have three different types of affixes. The first part is called prefixes, we have suffixes and infixes. For the prefixes, they refer to words which are added to the beginning of words, such as un or mes or this. So we say unhappy to mean the opposite of happy, misunderstanding to mean the opposite of understanding. The second type of affixes is suffixes, which refer to words added to the end of words, such as care, such as less. So we say careless, and we also have the suffix ness or ish. So we say sadness, which is the opposite of, we just say sadness, yes, sadness. Here we have repetition. Okay, or boy, we say boyish. So these suffixes are used to derive new words. Derivation معناتها اشتقاق. Okay, so here we can derive, we can create new words by using such affixes. The last type of affixes is known as infixes, which is not normally used, which is not often used. It's not very common in English, unlike other languages. It refers to using affixes inside another word, like for example serne, okay, which means see, yes, this is the verb, and it becomes serne, meaning and it means to drill, to drill. So see means to drill, to see, or see means to drill. That's in a language which is used in Southeast Asia. It's called Laos. So instead of saying just see as verb, we add this infix sani, okay, and it will be changed to become the noun form of that verb. So we call it infixes. Again, this is not common in English. It's rather common in other languages, particularly this language, which is used in Southeast Asia. So I come to conclusion that some sources of word formation can come in operation of more than one process at work in the creation of a particular word. For example, when someone says problems with the project have snowballed, that means that the final word can be understood as compounding of two words. These two words are snow and ball, which has then turned into a verb through conversion. So these two words have become one word through the process of conversion. Now I come to the end of this lecture. Hope you enjoy it, and I hope that you have got most of it. I wish you all the best and see you in